Williams, Ben Johnson, and the Chicago Bears host Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and the Green Bay Packers at Soldier Field in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. These two teams have only met twice in the postseason before. The last time they met in the playoffs, that was the 2010 NFC Championship game. The BJ Raji pick six, and the Packers went on to win the Super Bowl. The last time these two teams met, though, it was the Bears coming away with an incredible, remarkable overtime win over Green Bay. You have to watch this game in the final 2 minutes because the last four times they have played, it has come down to a final possession with the ball in Caleb Williams' hands. You go back to the 46-yard game-winning attempt Chicago had that Cairo Santos field goal was blocked last year. The last possession of the season where Caleb hits DJ Moore, they get in field goal range, 50-yarder from Santos. The first matchup this year, a great game at Lambeau, and then this past one a couple of weeks ago. This one feels like it's going to be an instant classic, the same way that all of those have gone. Just think it's really interesting. There's that commonality that the ball has been in Caleb's hands, and what else would you want than the young former first overall pick in the draft having his opportunity? So the narrative for this game, Chicago, they're NFC North champions. They're kind of ahead of schedule. First-year head coach, it feels a lot like the team in 2018 leading the NFL in takeaways. The one major difference between those two teams is this is a top 10 offense, and in 2018, that was an elite defense. This offense is far superior. That defense in 2018, they got after the quarterback. They got stops. They were excellent in the red zone. They could get off the field on third down. For Green Bay, this is really their entire year. If they were to lose the last four games of the regular season and then lose to the Bears on the road in the postseason and get knocked out in the first round back-to-back years, the season would be a massive failure. They had Super Bowl expectations once they signed Micah Parsons, and to not win the North once again, it's been 5 years since the 4 years, 2021, since they did that. They got bounced by the 49ers that year when they had the number one seed in the conference. And for them to potentially lose this game, it would be devastating. There would be talk about Matt LaFleur, but if they can pull this one off, it's essentially shoving their brother back in that locker. If you look at it, the last three matchups, the Bears have won two of the last three meetings. You'd have to go back about 2 decades to come on the last time the Bears have won two out of the last three. This thing has been dominated by Green Bay. Why does Chicago have a chance? It's because of Caleb. It's because of that opportunistic defense. Why does Green Bay have an excellent chance? Well, their quarterback, Jordan Love, he was fully in the MVP conversation going into the second half against Denver before that interception he threw, that Pat Surtain undercut Christian Watson. Micah Parsons goes down a couple of drives later. The entire season, and this team for Green Bay, what the theme was for them, it changed. This team was going to be potentially the Super Bowl favorite in the play for the one seed in the conference, and now they get into the one seed sort of backing in there in a way. They could have played their starters, but we all agree that it was a smart move. Rest these guys and get Jordan Love as healthy as possible. Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, a lot of their team has needed a little bit of that break. And when you're already locked into that 7 seed, they had nothing to play for. For Chicago, they needed a win or an Eagles loss to get that 2 seed. Now, that 2 seed is really important here for this postseason because the statistics of the Bears at home, they're 6-2 at home this year. The Packers, they're 4-1 on the road this season. There's a massive discrepancy between the way the Bears play defense compared to the way they are on the road playing defense. This team is the number 4 scoring defense in the NFL at home. 17.6 points per game. You know what they are in the NFL on the road? They are last, giving up over 30 points a game on the road. You don't think that getting that possible 2 seed, so if you do potentially beat your arch rival, the Green Bay Packers, getting that game at home gives you such a better chance to win, where you could play a Rams team, or you could play the Philadelphia Eagles is likely the the matchup that you would wind up getting. For the Packers, it's 3 road games. It's guaranteed. It's going to be that. You can't potentially host a game at Lambeau Field. That's a place where you've played a lot better football this year. They're 17th in the NFL with their scoring defense on the road, and they're 7th at home. A lot of Green Bay fans, they know that. When you get the bang on the drums all day rolling and the Go Pack Go chants and the crowd's getting into it, 70,000 strong, there's something special in the air. For Chicago, I don't know how many people were at that Bear-Packer game or could hear that through the television. The majority of us, that was a different Soldier Field. I can't recall a game where Soldier Field was that fired up from kickoff to the last play of the game. And when the Bears tied the game up with the Ja'Day Walker and the PATs good from Santos, that may have been the loudest that I've ever heard maybe in my lifetime, Soldier Field. Let me know down below in the comments the loudest you've heard Soldier Field if you've been there, the loudest you've heard Lambeau, because there's been some incredible moments, special moments for these teams. For Green Bay, they've had home field advantage. They can speak to that. They had it in 2021 when the Niners came in there. They had the 1 seed, and the road to the Super Bowl ran through Lambeau. In 2020, the road to the the Super Bowl ran through Lambeau, and they got beat by the Bucs. And it's always interesting, how important is it to get these games at home? At the end of the day, it is really crucial based on the statistics, based on that hard evidence that you can provide here. Now, I think that this game is going to be decided obviously late in the fourth quarter, but what determines whether the Bears are going to be ahead, trying to salt away the game, maybe get a couple of first downs as opposed to coming from behind, is the way it starts. Because the Packers have been positioned with the lead in the last 2 minutes in both games. You would much rather be in that position up 7 with the final 2 minutes as opposed to down. Green Bay in the first half, points a game, they are 26th in the NFL. They don't start off fast, and the Bears are 16th. So neither of these two teams are elite in that category. Whereas Green Bay in the fourth quarter, 25th in the NFL on defense for fourth quarter points per game allowed. The Bears, they are 3rd in the NFL in the fourth quarter defensively and in scoring. So offensively and scoring 8.7 points a game. So they're excellent in the fourth quarter. Green Bay's defense, not so much. But where these two teams have been truly excellent is starting off on defense. Green Bay, by a wide margin, is the best team defensively in the first quarter. Only 1.5 points a game allowed on the season. For reference, the next best team in the first quarter defensively are the Seattle Seahawks, giving up 3 points a game in the first quarter. The Chicago Bears, a little bit below that. They are also top 5 in the first quarter in points a game allowed, coming out to start in the first 15 minutes. Chicago has not put up points on their opening possession since their game against the Cincinnati Bengals in that crazy shootout. Colston Loveland gets the touchdown at the end of that one. You don't need to see a game-winning field goal, and then they wind up scoring, pull out a win. That's a game that I point to for this team that galvanized them. They were 4-3 at that mark. If you lose that game to Cincinnati where you're up 14, they recover the onside kick, this could have been a completely different Chicago Bears season, because they would have dropped to 4-4. You recall the next game, they played the New York Giants, and they were down by 10 with about 5 minutes left in that one, went on to win. The following week, game-winning field goal to beat the Minnesota Vikings. The following week, the Pittsburgh Steelers with the ball at the end of the game. That's to say that Cincinnati game, if something goes different there and you drop that one and you're 4-4, you go and compare that to the Commander game, you might have been looking at something similar. But this Chicago team is built. They're resilient. Their quarterback, Caleb Williams, in those 6 game-winning drives in the final 2 minutes when trailing the most in NFL history, he was a play away from doing it against San Francisco. And this Green Bay defense, they don't have their closer in Micah Parsons. They don't have their pit bull right there in the middle in Dovonte Wyatt. I, at times this year, thought that Dovonte Wyatt could have been even as important as a role as Micah Parsons because of his ability as a run stuffer and getting after the quarterback. It's rare you see a guy with that level of twitch inside the tackles, getting after the quarterback. He was excellent. So to lose both of them, that type of injury luck is just unfortunate to see. There's teams like the San Francisco 49ers that have been hit hard, and then there's the Green Bay Packers. It shows you how good this roster is, that they are still a dangerous team. And as of the recording of this, favored at Soldier Field, the team that we mentioned is 6-2 this year at home. They've been unbelievably tough to beat. And those two losses, not exactly ones that are bad losses. To the Detroit Lions, they played a sharp game. Chicago, horrible football for 3 quarters, and then brought it on in the fourth. And then week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings, an utterly completely different team. I really do believe that Minnesota beating Detroit on Christmas, the Lions coming up with that win against the Bears at Soldier Field, and the Bears tight games with Green Bay, and all of that shows you just how tough this NFC North division is. That the Packers lost to Minnesota, you can't just call this team that not that good because of that loss. Chicago lost to them, Detroit lost to them. The Packers swept Detroit. The Bears got swept by Detroit this season. There's a couple of those different weird inconsistencies with the division, with the way that teams match up. I think that the one consistency is, though, that things are going to be ultra competitive within this division for a very long time. The rosters are being built. The Bears are built from the trenches now on offense. A lot of work will have to be done in the offseason, but the trajectory is up. For Green Bay, there's no reason why this team can't be back to this level, if not better, next year if they're able to stay healthy. Now, the injuries to both these two teams, we're going to talk about that fully, like with the guys on the field for this one. Let's start with Jalen Johnson for Chicago, because he has not looked like Jalen Johnson the entire season. It's obvious that he doesn't have his full ability to explode and move the way that we're used to seeing. And Josh Jacobs on the other side for Green Bay, he just hasn't been right. And these guys have battled through injuries, and although they're full participants or limited in practice and they get out there on game day, we assume that they're 100%. They're not anywhere close to that number. Fact of the matter is, no matter what Jordan Love tells the media upcoming in this week, he's not going to be 100%. I bet for the Bears, someone like Luther Burden, Romeo Doubs is a really key player in this one. Is he available for Chicago? And if he is, how effective is he? Because there's a there's a vast difference between being available and being able to run full speed routes and affect the defense and to get them off balance and to keep them on their heels. To be able to drive on the ball and explode for contested catches. Because Odunze's style, he's a lot more of a contested catch, one-on-one guy. Luther Burden has been the Bears' outside perimeter threat. Get the football in his hands, let him catch the ball and run. Odunze is more one-on-one. I'm going to beat you and rely on my physical tools, my size, 6'3", 212 pounds, to beat you that way. And then you've got DJ Moore, who's a little bit of that combination. For the Green Bay Packers and their injuries, Bo Melton, he got shaken up in the first half, and there's question marks about him. Christian Watson, how healthy is he going forward? The week off that they all had, sitting McKinney, sitting Cooper, sitting Quay Walker, Zach Tom, all of this, it can't hurt. It really can't hurt to give guys a little bit of rest. And at this time of year, everybody's got something. I do believe that the injuries overall, no doubt, affect the Packers more top end. This would be equating Chicago. Micah is like, what if you didn't have Montez Sweat on the field? Now, Kyler Gordon, their main nickel in this game, that's where things could start to sway the other direction. Because he, for example, has been an X-factor player the Bears had written in going into this season to have a lot more belief that this defense would be good, even bordering on top 10 in the league, because of a guy like Kyler Gordon in the nickel. CJ Gardner-Johnson, although the plays he's made this year have been great, he got toasted by Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's no way to put it. He got absolutely obliterated one-on-one in coverage. He could not stop anyone on that day. And he's just not that type of player lined up one-on-one. If he's got a great pass rush like he's used to at the Philadelphia Eagles, he's physical, he's able to understand he only has to cover for 2.5 seconds. When the Bears pass rush isn't getting there for 3.5 seconds and he's got to cover for a second longer, simply put, guys are going to get open. So if he's in the slot and there's no Kyler Gordon, we're back to looking at this game being an opportunity for the Packers to take advantage of their slot opportunities, just like they did in the original matchup. Christian Watson taking a simple slant on a third down to the house because he was lined up with CJ right off of him, man coverage. It's a fascinating game between Dennis Allen and Matt LaFleur. Dennis Allen loves pressure. He loves to disguise his fronts. It does seem, though, at times that he should almost send pressure on earlier downs because teams are getting to 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2 quite often. Those corners, Rashan Wright, Jalen Johnson, have been playing far off, and you've got an easy 6-7 yard completion to the perimeter to set up a second and manageable where you're on your heels. I would like to see a bit of early down pressure to have the box loaded with 7 guys to essentially dare the Packers to throw the football down the field. Now, the conditions, they're going to affect both teams. It's likely not going to be too bad of a weather. I have seen in the forecast. Now, this can change. There's the possibility of either flurries of freezing rain if it's in the high 30s, and you could have rain if it drops down into 30s, which is likely because if it's going to be a night game, 5 o'clock, sun's down for this one. It's under the lights. It's prime time. You'll see snow. And because these teams practice in those conditions, it'll affect them as little as it would affect the New England Patriots and Drake May, as little as it would affect Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. The weather, it doesn't impact either team all that much more. The only thing really is the conditions of the field. The Bears, they are able to understand this field a little bit better. Green Bay, they've got the advantage compared to other teams. Like if you saw the Rams or the Philadelphia Eagles head into Soldier Field to know what type of cleats to wear. Green Bay, they're used to the conditions and this time of year to know what Soldier Field is like. Soldier Field used to be heinous, and now it has gotten a lot better where you actually see the grass being green in the month of January. I'm still amazed that they do have it. So this field has been as good a quality that I've seen in a while. So I don't expect a lot of slippage, guys going down. I think that the quality of play in that game at Lambeau, the first time around and the one at Soldier Field, it really came down to a couple of plays. There weren't any flukes, but in the sense of guys just going down for no reason. The slipping part of it, the field conditions look like they'll be good. The onside kick in that second game, that tilted the statistics because the Bears and the yards that they got on that next possession, and soon they get about 60 yards in a touchdown drive, and then they go 60 yards on the next possession and score. It made the statistics of the game feel a lot more even in that matchup. 22-16, first downs, passing the ball, 10 for the Bears, 8 rushing. That helps because the game was extended. They were 2 of 11 on third down. There was that crucial third down run play to Manungai. They were 1 of 10 on third down and then picked that one up to go to 2 of 11. And then the very next play, they did take that shot to DJ Moore. It'll be unbelievable to see Keyshawn Nixon and DJ Moore go at it. These two guys are going to have some bad blood. The intensity is going to be off the charts from the get-go. These guys are going to want to hit each other hard. There's going to be stuff after the whistle. The question is, what will be allowed here? And so back to Dennis Allen and Matt LaFleur going at it. It's like, which guy's going to be the aggressor? When does Matt LaFleur take his first shot of this game and air the ball out downfield? When he gets his one-on-one. And that may have something to do with Dennis Allen. When does he dial up a blitz on a 3rd down and 5? Doesn't necessarily have to, but feels like he wants to manufacture pressure, because this Bears defensive line with Booker, Jarrett Dexter, Sweat, they just don't get the kind of pressure on the quarterback that you would want it to see to have a good shot at winning the next 2 games at home in the postseason, which is the goal here right now. 35 sacks on the year. That's 22nd. That's right behind the Packers with 36 on the year. But Green Bay's had a lot more pressures with Gary and Igbare, and then you count Wyatt and Parsons for their production on the season. Montez Sweat, the only guy on the Chicago Bears that's gotten over that 10-sack mark. That was really nice to see him get over that, exactly at that mark. He had a half sack with Grady Jarrett. The ultimate way this game will be decided, besides the actual plays, a game-winning possession, or it comes down to a kick, are the situations that we all speak of, right? It's 3rd down, red zone, 4th down. Now, both of these two teams are ultra aggressive going forward on 4th down and looking at opportunities. I really believe anything from your own 45 to about the goal line, if it's 4th and 2 or less in this game, it's kind of the green zone to go for it. Both these coaches are going to be aggressive, and from the get-go, I think Dennis Allen ramps up that heat. Soldier Field, that crowd getting into it, wanting to get everybody going, the crowd, the atmosphere being just, I can't even really fathom what that's going to be like right now. Soldier Field, the smallest stadium in football, there's probably going to be 63,000 people there. That's it. But it's going to feel like there's 103,000 there, like a SEC type environment, that type of sound, because you are a little bit up closer on the field compared to some of those larger stadiums. So I think Dennis Allen and his tendency to ramp up the pressure and get to love early, and factoring in that the Bears have held up decently well enough in the red zone. In that second matchup against the Packers, Green Bay was 0 for 5 in the red zone, converting red zone trips into touchdowns. That's how you lose games. The Bears overall on the season for opponent 4th down conversions is only 48%. That's 8th best in the NFL. Green Bay and their conversion percentage, they've been really good this year. They're right around what is it, like 49, I want to say 49%. And the ability for Chicago to stop teams on 3rd down is something that didn't exactly show itself against Detroit. Detroit moved the ball, and they had some key 3rd down pickups. That was an excellent football game down to the wire. And for Green Bay, like being really good at picking up 3rd downs, have some faith, though, in Chicago with the crowd environment in this one, that they've been good on 3rd down overall on the season, and they can get off the field there. So both teams did a good job in the first game. Chicago is 50%. Green Bay, they were 66%. And then in the second game, the Packers, they were 6 of 12. The Bears a lot worse. That's really what tilted the game to make it feel like Green Bay dominated it, which they really did dominate the game for the first 55 minutes until the Bears had that field goal drive and then the onside kick, and all heck broke loose. But 10 penalties, 105 yards in that game, that just can't happen. First play of the game, you've got a necessary roughness penalty. You've got DeMarco Jackson jumping on top of the pile. Those things will kill you. Roughing the passer call on Austin Booker. The one, I believe there was another one on Montez Sweat. There was a possible another one on the play that injured Malik Willis on the last play of regulation, put his body weight down on Willis. That was a no call. I can understand it both ways if you're a Bears fan. No way, let these guys play. What's happened to this game? It's gone soft. And if you're a Packer fan, That's how a guy gets injured full body weight. It goes both ways. That sort of gives me a tiny bit of a segue here. We'll keep going on with this preview. But if you're a Packer fan, you're going to be stressed out of your mind. If you're a Bear fan, you're going to be stressed beyond belief. If you're at this game, if you're at home watching at a bar, wherever it may be, you're going to be stressed out of your mind. But sometimes as fans, we lose sight of why we watch, right? Ultimately, it's to have fun and enjoy our teams that we all love and enjoy. So find a way to enjoy this one. Maybe it's the first quarter, and it's only the first quarter that you're going to enjoy because the score is guaranteed to be close, at least for the first couple of minutes. Unless there's an early touchdown, the score is going to be tight. So you can enjoy a playoff game at Soldier Field for the first time in 7 years since the fateful double doink evening. They haven't won a playoff game since 2010. The Jay Cutler's first playoff start against Seattle, the Greg Olsen 65-yard touchdown through the middle. And for the Packers, they're going to be stressed because this game alters the trajectory of this franchise. It does. If they lose this game, that would be 3 out of 4 losses to the Bears. I'm going to say that again. If the Packers lose to the Bears on January 10th in the wildcard round, that would be 3 out of 4 losses. That would be a playoff loss to Chicago. You'd be watching the Bears host a divisional game, so most likely they have a great chance to move on to the NFC Championship. It doesn't even compute at times to think of that sentence that the Bears control their path, to host their path to the NFC Championship game, just winning 2 games at home. That's all they got to do is win games at home where they've been unbelievable this year. That in and of itself is wild to say. But Green Bay, that would be so unnerving because you know that Caleb Williams is going to continue to improve with Ben Johnson. Year 2, he's going to miss less of the gimmies. He's going to continue to evolve. Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, Monungai, they're going to get better. That defense, do they get Jalen Johnson, Gordon? Are they healthier? The defensive line, you would imagine that they're going to put 3 of their first 4 draft picks towards the front 7 or defense entirely to start allocating resources to creating a defense that at some point in the next few years resembles something of the top 10. This isn't to say the Bears are playing this one with house money, because they're not. A home game in the playoffs, you absolutely should win, especially when you beat them the last time. I don't care if it was fluky. I don't care if it was magical, if it felt like it was luck, whatever you want to call it. If you've got a playoff game and you're building in the postseason, there are 0 excuses. Prime time, that atmosphere is going to be best of the entire postseason. It's going to rival the NFC Championship. It's going to rival the Super Bowl even. Bears-Packers, like this, to Bears and Packer fans, this is the game a couple of weeks ago. That was the biggest game in a decade. The one before that was the biggest game in a decade. This truly is. It's like they keep mounting, getting bigger and bigger. I bet these 2 teams play again next year in the divisional round or the NFC Championship game or something crazy like that. Because it just feels like every time they match up now, we keep saying the same thing. And I'm having a great time making these videos because they just keep getting bigger and bigger. And we're fully here for it. I wish that they could play again later on in the playoffs, get 2 cracks at it. So this one truly, though, is the biggest game they've played since that NFC Championship game. It's bigger than the one that they played in 2013. That felt like a playoff game. I was there in 2013. Aaron Rodgers right in front of me. Gets away from Julius Peppers, hits Randall Cobb 48 yards down the field. Chris Conte kind of sits at the sticks, doesn't expect a route to go but beyond him. And Green Bay is headed to the playoffs. These are 2 better teams. Green Bay's got a really good defense, even without their stars. And Chicago, that defense didn't take the ball over all that well. This team's number 1 in takeaways, number 1 in turnover differential. That was a really good offense with Jeffrey and Marshall and Forte, but the worst defense in the league. And the Packers, that offense with Rodgers and with Eddie Lacy, I want to say it was, they were pretty good. I think James Jones was still there, Cobb, Jordy Nelson on that roster. I mean, James Jones, I can't quite remember recall if he was in that one. I'll have to go revisit that or even watch that entire game again. That was just such a memorable game. I think the second most points scored in a Bear-Packer game in the last 15 years or so. They had a Sunday night game back like 2022 that was like 45-30. That was the last time I think Chicago scored over 30 points against Green Bay in like the last 2 decades. So this one, to switch it back towards the style for the Bears, you have to put Caleb Williams in shorter down and distances. He needs to use his legs. You can get hit. This time of year, if you're out for the season, take a big hit. Like, this is it. There's no tomorrow if you lose. You give your all. And if you got to limp into the next round, you limp into the next round because now you've earned an opportunity to play the next week. It's the equivalent of in baseball, the NFL playoffs are a game 7 in every playoff game. You use your entire bullpen. You use every single one of your pinch hitters, your pinch runners to get yourself in position that a single wins the game. Like in the NFL playoffs, I got to see Caleb use his legs as a weapon. And if I'm Jeff Hafley and I'm that Green Bay defense, as the defensive coordinator, his responsibility is to take away one of Caleb Williams' strengths. If there's something I want to take away in this game, whether it be a certain individual as a target for him, like Burden, Moore, Odunze, I don't know. If there's a specific guy that you take away, like for example, in the AFC Championship game, in 2018, the Chiefs, they had Tyreek Hill taken away from them in the first half. Belichick took that away. Bill Belichick would take away your number one threat. He would try and take away Travis Kelce. He would try and take one of those guys away. And in this one, I don't really know Chicago's the type of team in the way that they're built that there's one guy. DJ Moore, he got fed in that last matchup. Luther Burden, he went off in the game against the San Francisco 49ers. They've got different options to go to, especially if Odunze is healthier now, because he was the number one threat. He was number 2 or 3 in the NFL in touchdowns when he was going into the middle of the season, when he started to really feel and the stress fracture became more apparent that he wasn't close to healthy. It's Caleb's legs. If I'm Hafley and there's one thing, I'm spying him with Walker or Cooper. These guys are rangy. They are athletic. Bring McKinney down in the box. So you've got 7 in there with Walker and Cooper. And then that 4-man front, Green Bay often likes a 5-man front with these really large and athletic linebackers that they have. Gary's been really good as an end. And I think Bari's, he's excellent filling in. A huge part of this thing is Lukas Van Ness. What can he look like? Does he make any impact? Because this was supposed to be the season. I talked about it in the first matchup and the second matchup. This was the year Lukas Van Ness was supposed to come up and be the future of Green Bay's pass rush. And without Micah Parsons now, he was the guy to step up, and that hasn't materialized. And because Micah came in, Lukas Van Ness didn't necessarily have to become that guy. Just imagine if they had him in this rotation, you'd be looking at a Philadelphia Eagle level defensive front with all of the guys that they rotate in that front 7. That makes me realize that there was conversations with other Green Bay fans. I love interacting. Eagle fans, Niner fans, Packer. Like the passion, I almost feel like it's a little bit more prevalent in the NFC. I don't know if NFC fans interact with AFC. It just feels like the passion is a little bit more here. It's a little bit more deep-rooted. It's a little more animalistic. Like you care a little bit more with these NFC games. The AFC, it's driven a little. I think it's a little bit less black and blue. Like besides the AFC North, got to give respect to the AFC North in that division. You can let me know down below if you agree on that or not. I just feel like it means more to Bear fans, a little bit more to Green Bay. They're not better than other organizations because they're older, because they have more history. The stats say that they're better overall based on the 10 championships or 13 overall. But still, these organizations, they care. They're passionate. Two of the biggest in the league. This is going to be the best rated game. I think by far of the weekend, Saturday night, this one may draw around 35 million views. I don't know exactly what it'll hit, but something around that mark. But what I'm going back to is Green Bay fans wanted to play the Bears. They didn't want to play Philadelphia. They've seen that one play out. Week 1 last year, down there in South America, like that one, they saw that one play out, and then they played them in the playoffs last year in the wild card round. All right, and then they played them this year at Lambeau Monday night. Like they didn't want to see Philadelphia, didn't want to have that matchup. I almost think that Packer fans would rather see a team like the Rams or Seattle than play Philadelphia again. It's just like that team, for whatever reason, has their number. And Chicago, you know this team. It's a comfortable opponent. You know what to expect. And most likely, it's a one-score game in the fourth quarter. If it's not, we're all shocked. We're all surprised. Because the offensive capabilities for Green Bay feel like they won't be limited to a point where they only score 13 or 14 points. And Green Bay's defense feels like they're not going to have 30 dropped on them. And the same thing goes for Chicago. They get these takeaways. They're just able to produce them. They get one inside the 5. They have the turnover on downs in overtime, and they come up with the win. In the first game, there's the pick from Williams, and there's no takeaways on defense except for the one in the first quarter from C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but it doesn't wind up leading to any points. And so this one, it comes down to turnovers. Ben Johnson, you got to put Caleb Williams in favorable spots. If he's rolling out, you can't have him launching that ball like he did to DJ Moore in the Lions game when there's a wide open guy. I want to say it was Connor Smythe. 18-yard gain. Get the ball down to the 20, and you're in this one. It might have only been a 13-point game at the time of that interception. Those are ones you can't miss. An 18-yard gain? Gimme? He might even get 25. Breaks a tackle, he scores. Got to hit those, especially when it's not just like a 5-yard gain. It's a legitimate first down chunk play, and you're going for it all at the touchdown. Caleb just didn't see him. If he saw him, he obviously would have thrown that ball. But the gimmies have to be hits. There can't be misses like to Loveland in that Niner game, or not hitting Duvernay on the final possession against San Francisco. In that one to Green Bay, Komet was open for a second on that 4th and 1 play. He was just open, hitting him earlier. If he releases that ball, it's there. If he puts it more on a line, he gets it to him. On the final play against San Francisco, extending time, Ja'Day Walker, like if he just puts the ball a little bit more air, it's there. And I just get amazed watching this kid throw the football. I've talked about it in every video. I'm going to continue to do it until individuals that don't like him at least respect him more. He's got a generational arm. He's got a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, whoever you want to come up with. Caleb's arm is of that level. Between the ears, he's going to continue to mature and grow. It's going to take time for him to hit the gimmies and to develop touch on the football, to be able to float one in between coverage and layer them. But his fastball, he's got that Nolan Ryan fastball. He's got that John Elway arm. He's got that Aaron Rodgers arm. Like he's got everything that Jay Cutler had athletically, arm talent-wise, and a step above with accuracy. Plus, he doesn't turn the ball over. It's just you got to hit the gimmies. That's what I know Bears fans loved Cutler. It was a love-hate relationship. For whatever reason, it's appeared like there's been a love-hate relationship with Caleb. People, I think at this point, the statistics are on Caleb's career. He's got 47 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, or 45 to 14. Like he's got the second best touchdown INT ratio for a minimum of like 31 games started in a guy's career. So let's understand we're watching something special from a young quarterback. Just set the Bears franchise record for passing yards. Caleb Williams just did. A little short of 4,000, likely hits it next year. Jordan Love on the other side, this man's expectations are just as high, if you can believe it. Because Favre won a Super Bowl, Rodgers won a Super Bowl, and they underdelivered, right? For Rodgers, he lost his next 4 NFC Champ games. Getting beat by the Falcons, getting beat by Seattle, getting beat by Tampa, getting beat by San Francisco. So for Jordan, he hasn't been to an NFC Championship game, and this year it's going to be tough. In order for him to get there, it's going to be beat Chicago and beat Seattle, and then you're going to have to go to probably Philly, maybe somewhere like LA. In order to do it, it's going to be a very tough road here. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but Jordan Love, we're going to find something about him on Saturday night. And I know this might be a wild statement, but I think that we may find out which quarterback is better ultimately after this game. If Jordan Love outplays Caleb, and you'll see it, now they would be a 21 of 29, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns or 3, no turnovers, and you beat Chicago 24-13, right? That's Jordan Love's better. And Caleb's stat line looks like 28 of 47, 173, a touchdown and a pick. If Caleb Williams throws for 265 and 2 touchdowns, and Jordan Love struggles the turnover and doesn't get over 250 easily, and the run game's not fully supported, so that a higher amount of pass yards is a stat that's not that much looked over, I truly believe that you're looking at a passing of the torch in a way from what's been 30 years of Green Bay better quarterback play to Chicago in this moment. Because this is a Green Bay opportunity. That Bear defense can be taken advantage of. Where's the excuse for the Packers? Zach Tom, he may be available for this game. It's possible that he's back. Where's the excuse if you lose at Soldier Field? Wait, nothing. What's the excuse for Jordan Love to lose this game? The refs? Look, this game will not be decided by officials. And it won't be decided by one play either. It may come down to a kick. It can't come down to a 4th down. But it's an entire game. It's 60 minutes that's played out. The better football team will win this game. I've no doubt about it. Whoever wins this game will be the better team. Now, it could come down to a final couple of minutes and a team comes up with a game-winning drive. I think that team will be better, ultimately, at the end of the day. And they're close enough because of that game. Because if Green Bay beat Chicago on that Saturday night, right now they would be 10-6-1. The Bears would be 10-7. Green Bay would be NFC North champs. This game would be in Lambeau. Instead of the Packers being like a point favorite, they would probably be a 4.5-point favorite in their building. They were a 7-point favorite, a touchdown favorite against Chicago at Lambeau Field in that first matchup. They came out as favorites in this one. At least they're favorites as of the recording of this one. That's my take. Let me know down below in the comments if you think the better quarterback will be the one that wins this game. And I mean that by the end. Like, whichever team wins, most likely will have that quarterback. Because that's what it comes down to in the NFL. It comes down to 4th down, 3rd down, red zone, big throws, close game late. Can you make the throws that are necessary? Football is complicated. There's statistics and there's history and there's so many factors that go into it and an infinite amount of possibilities. But at the end of the day, the quarterback position is the most valuable position in sports. If you have that guy figured out, and if you're Chicago and you're paying him a 5th of the amount of money that Green Bay would be paying Jordan Love going into next year, they would just feel more confident in Caleb Williams overall. I got to hear from you. Let me know down below in the comments, because I know Packer fans are going to hate that. They don't even think this is close. This is, to me, Love's 3rd year as a starter, 23, 24, 25, and Caleb Williams' 2nd year I don't know if there's a gap as wide as it's being led on. And from what I've seen from Caleb Williams and his game-winning tendencies, that Iceman ability, I'm not so sure that he's not going to play well in the postseason. That he's just going to shrivel up under the bright lights. Jordan Love has looked pretty decent. What is he? He's 1-2 career record in the postseason. This is the type of game that goes on that you wind up remembering for a long time. Could have predicted the Bears and Packers might have played again in the playoffs a couple of years within. It felt like they were about the same team. But 2011, Chicago 7-3 didn't make the postseason. 2012 didn't get back there. Green Bay, all of those years, like 2012, I think they had the 1 seed, got beat by New York en route to winning their Super Bowl. And the crazy game against the Cardinals in 2014, I want to say. And that one, Fitzgerald, first play of overtime after the craziness with Rodgers. There's no team that's had more heartbreak than the Packers. Bear fans can say that, sure. You've had your double doink. You've had the 4th and 8 to Green Bay in 2010 to the Packers, and your star quarterback and Cutler goes down. But Green Bay, they've had that heartbreak in the postseason. So what's worse overall? If you're a Bear fan, you'd say at least we'd rather be there. If you're a Green Bay fan, it goes both ways. And so I've heard a lot of chatter about how Caleb Williams is 2-2 against Jordan Love, but in those 2 wins, there's asterisks because Jordan Love didn't play in the second half of those games. Now, it's a fact. It's true. Malik Willis played his butt off in both those games, though. Malik Willis played pretty dang good football. He was 9 of 11, 120, running the ball. This man, he was playing good football, using his legs. He's got a different capability athletically than what Jordan Love has. And when Chicago wasn't ready for it, I think that was a major factor. And he had like a huge completion in that game at Week 18 a year ago. And so this is a much better opportunity with Jordan Love at quarterback healthy than what they would have with Malik. But if for whatever reason Love came out, I feel like it would steal something from us. Because we just want answers as football fans. We like debates, but at the end of the day, results tell us everything we need to know. If Caleb beats Jordan Love in this game, he's simply better than Love. If Love beats Caleb in this game, he's better than him. Again, if what we watch is able to provide fact to that, right? That's how it goes. If Caleb obviously throws 2-3 picks, but they winds up having a special teams and a defensive score, and they find a way to win it in wacky fashion, Jordan Love outplays him, that's different. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about straight up in the way that this one goes. I want to see Jordan Love for a healthy 4 quarters. What's crazy about that? If you're a Bear fan, you probably are hoping for the same. I know Bear fans very well. I know Packer fans, like they want their rivals to be at full strength because they want those bragging rights. This is the same thing as Ohio State, Michigan. You want them to be at full strength because you want to beat them at full strength. So you can call your buddies and call them out on their BS and say that you've got the better team because you beat them at full strength. Green Bay will have their excuses, right? No Parsons, no Wyatt, all those injuries. Jordan Love still wasn't 100. Sure, it's written in. Bear fans don't really have it. There's no excuses, really. It'd probably be officials, bad call. We don't commit so many penalties. Like it'll be something like that that'll come up. That's how it goes. A lot of times, unfortunately, as fans, we can't accept the results on the field. So I'm hoping that we do wind up being able to do that. I think that DeAndre Swift and Menengai are going to have a combined about 130 yards per carry, right around like 4.5. I think that Green Bay has success also running the ball to about a tune to 120, 125-ish. Don't see either team getting a full lean on the other. I think that Jordan Love has a touchdown or two and he makes plays downfield, but this Bears secondary, and having seen him twice, I think they're able to contain him. In the same way with the Packers, I don't believe that Caleb Williams, unless he has 9 or 10, 11 rushes, is going to get to a mark like 40 or 50 yards, eclipsing it and being very effective with his legs, which is likely to happen. He's going to go get it. In a game like this where there's nerves, he says he doesn't get nervous, but I think everybody does in these moments, and that's perfectly fine. He's human. Like, I believe the legs are a factor. I think that even if Green Bay tries to limit it, that Caleb is going to have some big scrambles. I'm predicting over 50 rushing yards from Caleb Williams, something like 52 or 53. If it's not there, he's not going to force it and instead trust his legs, go get 7, 8 yards. Go get that first down on 3rd down and 9 instead of forcing it. Punts in this game are not bad. It's not a bad result. I'm concerned about Josh Jacobs' full health. Yeah, I got to tell you, for me, that's huge. Wyatt and Parsons not being on the field. Now, they've got those replacements for Green Bay. They have players, but they're not to that Pro Bowl level. And I can't help but overlook that. I can't overlook that, in a game like this, especially being in Chicago. And having seen their momentum in games like at the end against the Giants or against the Packers in that huge second half in the first matchup, or in the scoring 16 points in those last 3 possessions in the final 5 minutes in OT. Like, this team has the capabilities. What if they start off hot? What if they could put that stuff at the end and come out and drop 13 points, 14, 17 points on the board in the first 20 minutes? Is it possible? Can Chicago do it? I believe that's really what would need to be shown if the Bears are truly a Super Bowl contender. There's got to be something in there where Chicago can go out there and drop 10 points in a first quarter, 14 points in a first quarter, and show the rest of the teams in the postseason in the league that they can do it early in the game. It's not just the end. Because if we're being real, the Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, like these teams, are Philadelphia again. If you're tight in teams that are experienced and with those front sevens and have pass rushes, the Rams have a pass rush, top 10 in sacks. Eagles, top 10 in sacks. Seattle, top 5 sacks. All of them get after the quarterback. You don't feel like Caleb, if he's trailing in a game like that, he's going to have a great chance. Against the Green Bay Packers in that pass rush now, you do think he can. And I think that he does. I see the Chicago Bears winning this game because of Caleb's mobility to extend, get first downs, and evade outside the pocket, creating. When it breaks down, can he get outside? Does Jeff Hafley have enough in him to get his guys to stay disciplined in this one? 41 pre-snap penalties is the most in the NFL. That can't happen for Chicago. They've got to be sound, disciplined, and I believe that they can do it. I'm going to take the Bears to win this game 20-17. Raucous environment. First home game in 7 years. Mobility of Caleb. Jordan Love. How healthy is he? The Green Bay Packer team as a whole, after losing 4 games in a row and establishing a rhythm, are they able to come out in this first half? And I'm just going to put the number at, can they score more than 9 points? I think if they're able to score more than 9, they've got a great chance to win this game. If they can score 10, if they could score 13, amazing. 14, unbelievable. If they could get a margin like that. And that has to do with, I don't think the Bears score more than a number like 10 in the first half. They just haven't shown a lot this season in that first quarter to explode out. They've been great in that fourth quarter. Best final 8 minutes of a game team out there. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take Chicago to win this game. Let me know down below in the comments who you think wins this one. This is a classic. No matter what the score winds up being, anytime you get the Bears and the Packers together, Bears-Packers together though in the playoffs, it's rare, it's special. We have to enjoy it and embrace the pressure and the heartache that this one's going to cause for one of the fan bases and the team. Someone's going to be devastated, guaranteed. And for whatever fan base that is, I'm sorry. We know it's going to hurt. It's going to be devastating for Packer fans. It'll be devastating for Bear fans to lose to this team again. I can't say it's more devastating for one or the other. Somebody moves on to the next week. I think for Chicago, there's a little bit more opportunity there because they do get the next one at home. They would be playing either most likely the Rams or the Eagles. An LA team, dome team coming into Soldier Field. Philadelphia, who've already beaten, as opposed to Green Bay going to play Seattle. That feels less realistic. Most likely the line on a Packers-Seattle game are the Seahawks favored by about a touchdown, 7.5 or so. So I'll take the Bears 20-17 and win this one on the back of their coach Johnson, dialing it up enough in this one for the Bears to hold on. I think they have the football in the final 5-6 minutes, and they're able to end the game with the ball victory formation, picking up a big third down late, up by about 3 or 4 to seal the game and move on to next week. I got to hear from you, though. Let me know where I'm wrong, what you agree with. It has been so much fun breaking down both of these two teams. I'm going to be upset I can't preview another Packer game or Bear game after this one's finished because the season will be over. These are two of my favorite teams to cover. So much history and tradition and all of that. So thank you so much as a fan base, whether it be Bears, Packers, for watching my stuff throughout the season. For the winner, make sure to be back next week. We're going to have a divisional round prediction. I've got the other 5 wild card games here on the channel that we're doing, so stay tuned for all of that. If you're a big NFL fan, please subscribe for more content. My name is Josh Blender. I make NFL content weekly, every single day, really, getting you set and ready for these amazing matchups. The NFL playoffs are here. College football playoffs have been amazing. We've got Oregon, Indiana in the semis on Thursday. We have Ole Miss taking on Miami on Friday in the semifinal at the Fiesta Bowl. So that's going to be amazing. And then the playoffs, 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. The best stretch of 5 days of the entire year are here because college football, that'll be about wrapped up after this year with only 1 game left, and the divisional round will be fun with some of the big boys coming out. But this is it. This 5-day stretch is going to be amazing. Appreciate you so much for watching, and I'll see everybody next time. Happy New Year. Stay safe. Enjoy this playoff game. Bears, Packers. Best player in college football. That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic. Josh Blender. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blender. To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.